evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, great scholars and great leaders. Thank you so much for joining us once again tonight in this Super Bumper Wednesday Masterclass. As we always converge here, scholars and leaders, we talk leadership because everything revolves around leadership. We've started this platform to engage as leaders, to empower each other, to encourage each other, to inspire each other, to admonish each other, to correct each other. Yes, as we always say, leadership is a journey. Leadership is not a destination. If you are a lazy person, stay away from leadership. I always say that because if you're a leader, you'll always learn until you go to the grave. Now, I always say that I don't know what will happen on the other side, whether we'll still be continuing learning or it stops here. But we'll talk that on another day. So my name is Majola. I'm from the Worldwide Institute of Leadership and Development. We've been doing this since 2020. And we've impacted and we've engaged and we've touched so many leaders from all walks of lives. And again, thank you so much for coming here every Wednesdays. We learn a lot from each other. We always say we come here to learn, to unlearn, to relearn, and to co-learn as leaders. How wonderful it is. You are an executive, you are this top person, you just come and sit and listen to another person and take those nuggets and go and implement them. And next time it will be you, we'll listen to you, we'll learn from you, we'll do the same thing. And this is what this platform is about. We've been doing this over 5 to 6 years now without fail, meeting every Wednesdays. And thank you so much for that. May I welcome our members and our regulars. You know that we learn a lot from each other every Wednesdays. That's why we come here. That's why we block Wednesday, Wednesday from 6 p.m. It's blocked because of what we get from this platform. And thank you so much for that. And a special welcome to those colleagues who are joining us for the first time. If you are here for the first time, thank you so much for joining us. You are most welcome. Please feel free. Don't be diffident. Don't be shy. We'd like to learn from you. Don't hold back. This is a safe space. This is where leaders meet. It's a community of leaders. The fact that you are here, it means that we belong here. So please feel free. Obviously, we treat each other with respect. That's why we've got great leaders who come here because of that humility and that respect that we display in this session. So thank you so much for joining us. Please do enjoy yourselves. I don't want to waste any time. Today, we're hosting a dear brother of mine, a very busy person, and I'm so glad that he found time to be with us to come and empower us tonight. And we are so glad. We're going to give him time as we always do, especially just for the sake of those who are joining us for the first time, our process, our procedure, we give the speaker time to address us, and then after that we can engage him and each other. Our speaker this evening's my brother, a well-known international keynote speaker, Max Moyo. He holds an executive MBA from USA. He also has the Bachelor of Business Administration also from US. He also has an Executive Development Program, EDP, from the UK. He's a global speaker, the leadership catalyst, and culture architect. Through his work as a keynote speaker, executive coach, and founder of Ignite My Potential, he has helped leaders across Africa, the Caribbean, the Middle East, North America, and Asia lead with greater purpose, courage, and effectiveness. Tonight, he will be speaking to us on a subject that is both profound and necessary: leadership pain. Wow, what a topic! Leadership pain, the hidden cost of caring people, purpose, and pressure. What is that cost? The cost of leadership, of carrying this triple P. And this is what we'll be talking about tonight. My brother, Max, thank you so much, sir, for availing yourself to come and address our platform here. We welcome you, and we are so grateful and honored that you made time for us. You and I have spoken that this, hopefully, this won't be the last time we have you here. But thank you that in your tight schedule that you were able to to find time to come and address here. Over to you, my brother. You can address us now. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prof. And good evening to everyone. It's a privilege and it's an honor to join you in this discussion. And indeed, it's the right thing to do, because ultimately in life, iron sharpens iron. And I want to say it in Xhosa so that I can pretend like I'm really Xhosa and I'm as Zimbabwean as they come. Athi-ke amaXhosa amanzi anzongonzongo abiza amanzi anzongonzongo. Translation: deep calleth unto deep. In other words, iron will always sharpen iron. So I'm glad that you meet every evening. Is it once every week? Yeah, so the weekly meetings. Today's topic is one of my favorite topic. I love talking about leadership because, like Prof said, everything begins and ends in leadership. And so we're going to go straight to it, the hidden cost of leadership pain. And you're all leaders in your own right. And I want you to think back to when you first walked into leadership. Some of you were young. And you were asked to, your father left you and say, you are in charge. And as soon as your parents left, you discovered that leadership is not for the faint-hearted. Others, it could have been, at church, it could be at school, you were a prefect. But the point on the matter is that one of the things that I think is always interesting about leadership is that you discover there's so much pain associated with leadership. Yet, our leadership schools, our leadership books actually don't address that issue. We address everything about how to be a great leader, and also nobody's talking to you about leadership. And so I want to start by asking the question, how are you? How are you? So while you are thinking about the answer to that, let me see if I can share my slides. Tell me if you can see my slides.
Yes, we can see it, my brother. We can see it. Yeah, perfect.
Awesome. So I want to start on that question. How are you? And since we are many and we are online, you'll get away with not answering me. But I want to start. I want to start on that question of how are you? And then the next question I want to ask is, when was the last time? And I want to take you to your leadership role. When was the last time somebody asked you, how are you actually doing? No, not how's the quarter, how's the team, how's the business, how's the church, how's the family? When was the last time somebody actually asked you, how are you actually doing? And that's where we want to start this, because once you take up leadership, one of the things that you will discover pretty quickly is that leadership carries weight. it is not just the influence that we have, but it carries weight. We celebrate the visible side of leadership, the promotion, the platform, the decision, the rights, the decision rights, but leadership is what I call an invisible invoice. And that invisible invoice is pain. But the pain is not proof that you are failing. Sometimes that pain is proof that you are carrying something that is real. And so just give you a little bit of the beginning. So I see leadership, if you think of the African three-legged pot, that one that you use for cooking benachutas, that three-legged pot. So leadership sits on three legs. The first leg is a declaration of independence. The first leg of leadership is a declaration of independence, and I'll explain the three legs before we get into the rest of our presentation. The second leg is integrity. Integrity. And the third leg is where our topic comes from, pain threshold. Okay, let's start with the beginning. The first step in leadership is a declaration of independence. What do I mean by a declaration of independence? Well, think about it this way. You can never lead the people that you need. So if you're going to lead people, the first act is declaring independence from the people. Now I'm going to be a bit political and controversial, because if I do that, then you remember me. So I want to give it, and I'm going to use two specific leaders. I'm going to use the late Dr. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, and I'm going to use our current president, His Excellency, Matamela Ramaphosa. Now I want us to and I want you to think about this. It's not cast in concrete, but it's going to help to explain this. Now, here's my position. My position is simple. It says that Nelson Mandela did not need the African National Congress. The African National Congress needed Nelson Mandela. Therefore, he could lead the African National Congress. Stay with me. Fast forward. Cyril Ramaphosa needs the African National Congress. And therefore, throughout his term, he has struggled with leading the African National Congress. Because you can never lead the people that you need. In other words, when you have to take tough decisions, you have to think, well, if I take that decision, will they recall me? But if you don't need them, you can take the tough decisions because you're not worried about it. Now, we can debate, and I know this can start a debate, but it does give two different leaders who have a different relationship with their organization. You can never lead the people you need. Let's give another example. Let's say in your organization, you got the leadership role through, let's say, a union. You were a union-backed candidate. Now you finally got the role. And now you have to make a decision that goes against the union. Guess what they're going to say? Chief, don't forget who put you there. So you can never lead the people you lead. So the first step, and I'm going to go biblical on you for a moment. I see the first call for leadership. The world's best call for leadership was a guy called Abraham. And the Bible records it this way. It says that God says to Abraham, leave your place of birth. Leave your country. Leave your people and go to a place I will call you. What he was saying is, if you are going to walk into your leadership, the first thing you need to do is you must leave your place of birth. Why? Because you see, if you are born Mtata, they'll always know you as a teen man. They're never going to take you serious. You must leave your family. When you try to lead within the familiar will influence you. You must leave your country. Well, let's think about it. So if you say you are South African, what does that say? There are certain things that you are allowed to do. There are certain that you're not allowed to do because of by virtue of being South African. And so your leadership becomes limited by your culture. I used an example the other day when I was talking to a group of women, and I said, so if you're an African woman and you're going to have to walk into leadership, one of the things you have to do is to declare independence from your culture. What does your culture say? When men talk, women must keep quiet. So you can imagine, if you don't declare independence from the way you were brought up, you can never lead a group of men. And we can go that it could be religious, it could be cultural, it could anything. The point is, you as a leader today, your takeout from here is, what do you need to declare independence from so that you can truly move into your leadership? And as a word of caution, the next time you get a promotion into a leadership role, you need to find out how much independence you will have in terms of decision making. And I would suggest that if you don't have independence in terms of decision making, don't take that role, because you're going to end up being a puppet with the puppeteer pulling the strings. All right, I think I've killed that one. Declare independence. So the real takeout is, what do you need to declare independence from so that your true leadership can show up? That's the first leg. The second leg is integrity. Integrity simply says doing what you say you will do by when you say you will do it. That's integrity. Now, if you don't have integrity, you're already dead as a leader. Because a leader is only as good as his word. When you lack integrity, your word means nothing. And people will, you see, you must not mistake compliance because you're my boss to actual following you. And we see that. We see that in organizations. We even see it at home. Some of us are such terrible leaders that even our own kids aren't following us. They are complying because you're going to beat them up. True leadership is influence. And influence is gained through a sustained integrity. Doing what you say you will do. But that's not the conversation. We'll have another conversation someday where we'll really talk about integrity and leadership. Here comes the third leg of leadership: pain threshold. As a leader or as a human being, you will only grow to the threshold of to your pain threshold. So let me give you a practical example. Some people can only handle a department of 4 people. You give them 6 people, it's too much pain, they cannot handle it. So that's their pain threshold. So in leadership, and this is what you guys are doing, when you meet here every week, what are you doing? You're developing as a leader, and one of the things that hopefully you are developing is increasing the level of pain that you can carry. And that's why when we develop you as leaders, we give you responsibilities and we keep adding those responsibilities. With every responsibility, it's a different level of pain. And we pace it so that we don't kill you. And then what happens a lot of times is that we get to a level where that's our pain threshold. And if you take a role whose pain threshold is higher than yours, it will kill you. We know people that have had heart attacks at work. We know people that have, died because of work. I'll give you a very practical example of taking a job whose pain threshold is higher than what you can handle. I don't remember the guy's name, but the guy who ran ESCOM before Derators. You can Google him. I can't remember his name now. But if you will remember that he used to collapse at the office. So every now and again, he would collapse at the office. The ambulance will come and pick him up. And then he will be okay, come back to the office, he'll collapse. And finally, even if you read why he resigned for health reasons. So what had happened? He took a job whose pain threshold was far much higher than the pain he could handle, and so it affected his health. Stay with me. Pain threshold is very important. So one of the jobs in terms of your developing yourself as a leader is to consistently increase your pain threshold. And if you go, and it's one of the fascinating things that I found, as a biblical scholar, what I find interesting is that if you look in the Bible, every person that God is going to use, he takes them through a school of pain. And I used to sit there and say, but why would you, you're working for God. Things should be all nice and rosy. No, because God understands that true leadership is a function of how much pain you can handle. And ultimately, the ultimate height of leadership is when you give your own life for the purpose for which you are living for. Pain threshold. Let me give you another side of this. The organization that you lead can only grow to the leader's pain threshold. So if you are heading a bank right now and its profit sits at 10% per annum, and the board says, we now want to up our profit from 10% to 20%. You understand that to move from 10% to 20% is going to take pain. And if you as a leader don't have the capacity, you are never going to get that organization to the 20%. That's why you see in corporates, after a while, they will change the leader and they'll bring a new leader. What they're doing, they're bringing a leader who has a higher pain threshold, who can take the organization to the next level. You have seen a lot of times with organizations that when they do cost-cutting exercises, it's not normally they don't use the current CEO. They will bring a new CEO to do the cost cutting. Why? Because the current CEO does not have the pain capacity to cut what needs to be cut. So they bring a guy who's got a high pain threshold. He can remove 20,000 people and still go home and have breakfast. The current CEO, if he did that, he'll probably end up with high blood pressure. I hope you're getting that picture. If you're running a church, some of you will be running a church and you go to a church of, let's say, 100 members. But your dream is to grow your church to 500 members. And you simply can't get there. And I can tell you now that until you can raise your pain threshold in order to handle the pain that comes with 500 members, you're never going to get there. And it's true with your business, and it's true with your own life. We want to grow, we want to succeed, but we don't want to take the pain. And I see some of you profs, to become a professor, there are certain hoops that you must go through. Some people have been assistant professor for life. And the reason they remain there is that they will not take the pain that is necessary to go into the next level. And I think that's the point. So when we think about leadership, we need to think about it in that context, that leadership and pain are often inseparable. So if you're in leadership, you will know because you're in pain. Now let me go deeper with this. If you are in leadership and you're not in pain, your leadership is ineffective. Because great leadership will cause pain to you as the leader, and it will cause pain to the followers. Now, I'm not talking about abusing your people. I'm talking about the fact that every time you stretch your people, you cause them pain. And that's the role of a leader. You move people from one pain to another, because the growth comes from one pain to another. And so that's kind of as a matter of background, I wanted to give you that. So leadership pain, there are three burdens really that I wanted to focus on in terms of pain, besides the stuff that I was talking about. And these are the three burdens is, one, people pain. Why is that a burden? Because you have to carry your people's fears. You carry your people's expectations. You carry your people's wounds. You carry your people's politics. You carry your people's silence. You have your people's dependence and your people's disappointments. That's a lot of pain that you carry as a leader. So that's on the people level. Then purpose. Purpose is about the mission. Whatever organization you lead has a specific mission, and that mission rests on your shoulders. The mission must survive mood, it must survive pressure, it must survive delay, and the mission must survive competing agendas. And that is all on your shoulders. You can understand why, as a leader, you are in pain. And finally, obviously, you are also in pain. You handle the pain of pressure. What kind of pressure? Pressure in terms of the decisions that you must make, the criticism that you are going to face. And I often say to people that the moment you walk into leadership, you're going to discover something interesting. You are damned if you do, and you are damned if you don't do. So you're never right. You are damned. That's all. It's over for you, because everybody knows what you should have done. Everybody could have made a better decision, and so criticism is part of it. Uncertainty. You are making decisions with limited information, and some of the decisions you make can have catastrophic consequences. I mean, you think about if you're a president of a country, and you have to make a decision to go to war, which means you're making a decision to send the people's children to go and get killed. That's difficult. But if you don't decide to go to war, you might just be postponing something that will end up becoming a disaster in the future. And so you have to deal with weighing those difficult uncertainties. They're trade-offs. Where do you put the money? Do you build more school? Do you pay old people grants? What trade-off? And of course, one of my favorite, loneliness. Oh, it's lonely at the top. You're sitting there. You're not me. When your people leave work and they're not going to meet their targets, they're not worried about that. You have to answer to the board. Imagine being Cyril Ramaphosa. Now your ambassador has been fired. And then one group of your own people has gone and said you're committing genocide. And now you're faced. It's a mess. And you got to deal with this, and it's a lonely thing. You're making decisions, and everybody knows what the decision you should have made is. It's rough. And of course, the pressure of public consequence. A lot of decisions that we make in private generally have public consequences. So we carry all this. And I call this, what's interesting about leadership is that leadership creates a gap between you and everybody else. And so you find yourself in what I call a private room or private rooms. You are here sitting with me, or you're sitting with a subordinate, but the reality is actually you're on your own. It's like sitting with your children. You're sitting with your children and the bond has not been paid. You are there with them, but you are in a different room by yourself trying to deal with, how am I going to pay these bills? Okay? And so leadership is painful because you are carrying wounds, what I call the wound of leadership. The first wound of leadership then is isolation. And that isolation is normally disguised as strength. We're seeing you there, we think you are so strong, but actually you're all by yourself. So the title will give you access, but it doesn't automatically give you a safe place to tell the truth. Sometimes you cannot talk about the things that you're going through because the people that are surround you are your subordinates and they're depending on you. It's like telling your kids, I don't know how I'm going to pay school fees. You're going to kill your kids. So you, you carry this on your own. Okay, so what does this pain look like, the pain of leadership? You know, I've got 6 of these symptoms of pain, okay? So one of the challenges of leadership is unprocessed pain, or what I call unprocessed leadership pain. When pain has no altar, it looks for an outlet. So irritability becomes a leadership style. You're caring so much. A kid says, "Daddy, this," and you shout. You're irritable, but it's not, they didn't do anything wrong. It's because you have what? You have pain that doesn't have an altar. So it shows up as what? Irritability. 2, control replaces trust. I've seen this in corporate where when things are going wrong, the CEO now wants everything. Everything must be approved by me. 3, withdrawal disguises itself as maturity. You withdraw from everybody else because you're dealing with so much. 4, cynicism. You become cynical, but it sounds like wisdom. Achievement becomes the emotional anesthetic. You know, you achieve the next thing and the next thing because that makes you feel good. And ultimately, as a leader, you begin to serve the role and neglect your soul. And we've all seen soulless leaders. It's as if they have no blood. It's as if they got ice going through their veins. It's because they have unprocessed pain. Pain will either be processed into wisdom or projected into other people. The reason why I love to talk about pain is because it's a subject that is so important to you as a leader, because all of you listening to me today are in pain. You're carrying pain. And pain sometimes that you cannot talk to those that are around you. So there are 4 rooms of leadership pain that I want to share with you. Let me just check to make sure on time. Okay, so I still have a bit of time. If I don't finish, you'll have to hire me to your organization and then pay me to come and finish it. Okay, so 4 rooms of leadership pain. This is a simple map for reading the hidden costs before it becomes hidden damage. So as a leader, you sit and you can tell you are dealing with pain. Now you need to name the pain so that you can deal with it. All right? So the first room of leadership pain is what I call the room of responsibility. And you're sitting there and saying, what must I carry because I said yes? I said yes, so I must carry that. So now the pain makes sense. I'm carrying this because I said what? I said yes. Number 2, the room of betrayal. Oh, who has been in leadership has not had to face betrayal, hey? And there the question is, where has trust cost me more than expected? You trusted people, they let you down. They betrayed you, they stabbed you in the back. The third room, the room of loneliness. Where am I surrounded but not known? You're surrounded. You got people around you, but you're not known. So understand this. So pain arrives through these specific rooms. And you know, where am I surrounded but not known? And finally, the room of formation. And that for me is where the power is. What is this pain trying to mature in me? Great leaders have an amazing ability to turn pain upside down and benefit from it. What doesn't kill you will make you stronger. And I often say to people, faced with circumstances that you cannot change, you are forced to change yourself. So this is going to make me stronger. All things work together for my good. If you don't deal with this, if you don't come to that point, the room of formation, what's going to happen is that all that pain will be wasted. And you're going to end up sitting at a psychologist's desk, chair, talking about who did what to you in 1922. Process your pain and process it and shift it towards, I become better because of the pain that I've had to go through. All right, so what do you do when the three burdens, what do you do with the three burdens? So we're going to take each one, one by one. So the first burden was the burden of people, right? How do you carry people without disappearing? Empathy, the ability to be in somebody's shoes. A leader must care deeply, but a leader must not become the dumping ground for every anxiety in the system. Now, this one is a big one for pastors because they end up carrying everything. So healthy leadership carries people with love, but it also builds boundaries, ownership, and capacity. If you don't build your people, you are going to end up carrying everything. And your people must also develop resilience. They must be able to deal emotionally with the pressures and the drama that they're facing. And so we make sure that we create boundaries around the things that you can, I'm going to deal with and the things that you must face. It's like someone coming to you and complaining about their relationship and then asking you what they must do. Am I supposed to tell you to dump your partner or to? No, you must. There are certain decisions that you will have to make. And so leadership is able to push back and help people to make decisions that they take responsibility for. Okay? So your compassion must not become the place where other people avoid growth. Stop becoming a crutch for the people that you lead. Carrying purpose when the room changes mood. Right. So purpose must outlive applause, guys. When you're starting off, everybody's excited. Tumamna, everybody is excited and everybody is with you. And then when the going gets tough, even those that said we were with you, chief, you're going to find that when you look behind you, they are not with you. So when people resist, what do? You clarify the why before defending the plan. Always. It's not personal, it's about the purpose. When momentum drops, and in any mission, momentum is going to drop. Like Trump ran out of bombs and then he negotiated a ceasefire because he didn't have any more. Anyway, we're going to talk about that some other time. Okay, so when momentum drops, what do? Return the room to the cost of doing nothing. When politics rises, politics starts at home, husband and wife, your politics. And then you add the first child and the politics gets even more complicated. And a lot of times, when we're in organizations where we lead, we think that it's different. It's not different. The politics you face at home, it's the same in your family and in your extended family. It's the same politics you will face in your church. It's the same politics you will face in the organizations that you're running. Guys, politics is a function of when you put human beings together. So when politics rises, you as a leader, the custodian of the purpose, what do? You protect the mission from becoming personal territory. A leader's job is not to keep everything comfortable. It is to keep everyone honest with the purpose. Guys, why are we here? And I often say, you can take it, if it's in the home and there's drama and there's politics, you're going to have to sit and say, what is the mission? The mission is to stay married. So we can fight all we want, but the mission is to stay married. This family must continue. Okay, so what do we do here? Guys, we provide Coca-Cola. We are giving people the sugary drinks. Everything else can go. So we protect the mission. And finally, pressure was the third one. Carrying pressure without becoming pressure. This is a big one. And it's probably the most leaders you need to manage consciously, because pressure is one of the things that a lot of leaders are on high blood pressure medication. This pressure. Okay? So, carrying pressure without becoming pressure. How do you carry pressure without becoming pressure? Now, being calm is not the absence of fear. Being calm is disciplined presence under weight. So when you're underweight, you don't panic. You remain calm. In fact, I have discovered that pressure reveals the leader's inner government. If you are empty on the inside and we put you under pressure, you're going to crumble. And so that's why leaders need to invest in themselves, so you are strong internally. So when the pressure comes from outside, it finds you grounded. The room borrows its nervous system from the person carrying authority. I can never overemphasize that. When the leader panics, in fact, the moment people see a leader in panic, your best people are probably looking for jobs somewhere else. Because if the chief is in panic, then that means everything is gone. In the same sense that I always say, as a father or as a mother, when you show your kids that you are panicking, your kids are not going to pass that test they're going to write tomorrow. When they get a sense that dad has lost control or mom has lost control. In your department, it's important as a leader to understand that you are the one who determines the temperature. So you are not the thermometer. No. You are the thermostat. You set the temperature. Okay? What you carry inward, the team will eventually feel outward. Your regulated presence gives others permission to think clearly. You cannot ask for calm in the room if you are not modeling it. I don't want to go beyond this because I think I've covered quite a bit of ground. I want to stop here and then just open the floor and let's have a discussion. Not the floor for question, the floor for discussions. We are okay. Anyway, questions and discussion. I'm gonna stop sharing. All right.
Thank you very much, my brother. Wow, powerful nuggets there. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the time now to engage with the speaker. You can do that by raising your hand. There is a button there for raising hands, or you can do that via the chat room. Maybe let's just start with the chat room, and then while colleagues are coming with their hands. Chat room. Dr. Tandiwe Gama, surviving on a thin thread, on Abada, leadership and assorted pains. Can we see the full screen slide? Dr. Gama again. Can we say one's pain threshold is one's breaking point? I think that's a question there from Dr. Gama. You'll have time to answer, Max. And then Ketwin Pofana, your leadership growth is as high, your pain threshold so profound. Tebucho Kotu, is there then a mechanism available for us to explore to grow our pain threshold? Ketiwe, cold-hearted leaders are common. If you don't transform your pain, you will have transmitting it. Dr. Linda Peter, stop becoming a crush of the people you lead. And Sisketi again, being calm is a strength and not a weakness. Dr. Gama, it's about building the inner muscle to the pressure, but remaining calm. Thank you, colleagues. I think the questions there was from Dr. Gama and Tebucho, and others were Others were, if I'm not mistaken, were just, oh, I see my professor there, Prof. Zita. Is there a difference between leadership pain and the monstrosity of leadership? Colleagues, by the way, you can express yourself so that we understand you more. The
Yes, yes.
question, Dr. Gama, do you want to elaborate on your question, my sister?
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. Good evening, everyone. I have a lot to say, Prof, but maybe I think for me, the essence of what I heard, and thanks for that great presentation, Mr. Moyo. What I was hearing is basically something that I heard not too long ago, also in another leadership setting where I was facilitating. We're talking about leadership capacity being more about doing the inner work.
Yes.
We're talking about the muscle of leadership is that almost that sweet spot between whatever triggers you, whether it's the pressure, whether it's just the pressures of leadership and how you respond to it. That gap is what makes you as a leader and what could break you as a leader. And we're referring to that gap as that sweet spot where you develop that inner muscle to try and deal with the level of leadership. So perhaps Mr. Moyo can just elaborate on that. Like I'm saying, I took quite a bit of nuggets from what he said. I loved the concept of the 4 rooms, that we can remind ourselves as leader to say, which room am I sort of finding myself mostly occupying, and which room is the one that I try to avoid. And maybe again, with your self evaluation as a leader, to say, where am I most comfortable? Which room gives me comfort, and probably why? And I also heard you talking about something very important in leadership, the why. Always ask yourself the why. Why are we here? Why are we doing this? What is the purpose? What is the mission? Thank you so much, Prof. Mazwe. Let me just stop here and give over to other colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Doc. Thank you very much. Max, can we maybe take 2 or 3, then you can just
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
then you can just Tebogo, would you like to elaborate on your question, or are you covered?
Thank you very much, Professor. Good evening, everyone. Yes, thank you. Yes, so Doc mentioned about pain thresholds and saying that if you are a person that has, a certain limit in terms of your pain threshold, when you are possibly placed in a place where you would have to carry a bigger responsibility, that's sort of what I would deem your breaking point. And he mentioned that it would be important to grow your pain threshold. So what I was asking is there a mechanism or a manner in which or something that is in place for us to explore in terms of growing your threshold? Because obviously that also speaks to your growth as a leader. You wouldn't want to be stuck in one place in terms of whichever capacity you are leading at this current juncture. So I hope I'm clear enough. Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect. Thanks, sis. Thank you very much. Over to you, Max.
Sister Ndiwe, I don't think you asked a question. You actually just elaborated. Was there a question there?
I guess a question stroke comment, but I think the very first question that I asked is, could we say your pain threshold is as good as saying that's your breaking point as a leader?
Perfect. Yes.
Where is your breaking point as a leader?
So your pay, and then you're exactly right. It's what you need to know what you can carry.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to answer this together with the next question, where how do we measure? So our role in life, really, once you've discovered your mission, is then to grow yourself to be able to carry the mission. And a leader, great leaders, are people who are constantly growing. If you're not growing, you cannot go to the next level because you don't have the capacity. So let me take you to gym. When you get to gym, some of you will start lifting 5 kilograms. That's your capacity. It's your threshold. If you go to that gym and you lift 10 kilograms, the next day you will not be able to lift your arms. You've tried to do something that's beyond your capacity. However, the fact that today you cannot lift 10 kilograms does not mean that with development, you can't get yourself to a point where you can lift 10 kilograms. So you start with 5. After a week of lifting 5 kilograms, you now can lift 6 or 7. And then you go again. By the end of the month, you are now at 10 kilograms. And if you carry on, by the end of another month, you're at 15. So and depending on how far you want to go. So you must be clear about where you're going. Depending on how far you want to go, you can keep on adding the weights and adding the weights. So the guys that can survive at that. See, the problem with most leaders is that you are not intentional about growing yourself as a leader. So you're running a department and you are waiting for this organization to promote you. And then one day, they then promote you. But while you were waiting to be promoted, you were not lifting weights that are above your responsibility. And the next day, they shake your hand and say, congratulations. And you sit at that desk and then you discover, ooh, I have beaten more than I can chew. So the point is, 1, leaders are visionaries. So you are sitting here. It will take you a while to be able to lift 5 kilograms without your arms getting sore. So the first time you lift a simple 5 kilograms, the next day you will be sore, but you can still use your arms. And so this is, I'm talking about your department. Your current department, when you join, you go through pain as you learn the ropes and as you begin to learn about people, about managing politics, about managing performance, about having performance discussions and all the things, managing budgets. Maybe you didn't have a budget, now suddenly you have a budget, and so you go. So once you are comfortable at that level, you now start, the conversation you would have with your boss is, can I sit in some of your meetings? Why are you sitting in some of your boss's meetings? So you can begin to get a glimpse of the pain that's involved in the next level. You are spending time with people that are operating at a level higher than yours to catch a glimpse of what they have to deal with. You might have to sit in somebody's exco and get a sense of, so for you guys who are developing fellow leaders, part of that is that your team, do you give your team exposure to some of the difficulties that you're faced? Think about raising kids, mothers. Initially, you say to your child, take the meat out of the fridge. I will cook when I get home. That's all the kid can do at this particular moment. And as they get older, they'll come say, okay, put the meat on the stove and start the cooking, but I will finish off when I get there. And then they'll come to a point where you're now saying, okay, come here. And now they're observing you while you are doing that. You are building their pain threshold. And then you'll get to a point where now you are comfortable that they can cook while you're away. Are we together? In fact, while we're answering this, can I give you a formula for developing your subordinates? Here's the formula. I call it the Jesus model. It's 4 steps. So the first step, I do, you watch. That's step number 1. So you do the work, they just sit and they observe. After a while, you enter step 2. Step 2, which is the same thing you would do with your child. Come, let's do it together. So now you are cooking together. Maybe dad, you are changing the oil, but you're not changing by yourself. You are changing it together. No, you do this, you do this. You are doing it together. Step number 2, we do it together. Step number 3, after doing it together for a while, and you can see that now your subordinates now more aware of the process and they can do it. You say, okay, today I'm actually not doing the cooking. You are cooking, I am watching. So you do, I watch. So you watch and you correct, when after the okay. So now your subordinate is having a one-on-one with their subordinate. You are sitting in there, you say nothing. This is very important. You shut up. Let them do what they need to do. After they're done, you then have a conversation and say, okay, here. And you keep doing that. They do, you watch, you do until you get to a point where you are satisfied now that they can do it. Step number 4. You're on your own. That's the model. It's the model that you develop people. Now, you can take the same model. Don't wait for your boss to come and say that's the model. You can go to your boss and say, I have a model that I think can help me to develop so that I can to the next level. Okay? Step number 1, can I just come and watch you? The next time you are presenting at that place, can I come with you? You can sit and listen. Okay? Then, after you've been listening for a while, you say, I think I know this presentation. Do you think you can give me, can I do part of this presentation? So what you do it together. Maybe you do he sets the scene and everything, and he gives you the part that you're comfortable with to do. After a while of doing that together, he or she gets to a point where they're comfortable. Then next time you'll hear people saying, hey, Tandiwe, I'm not going to that meeting today. You're going to represent me. And some of you remember that experience when they say, you are going to represent, and you are shaking. No, but I'm not ready. No, you are ready. So we're raising. So you are purposely raising your own pain threshold. The mistake that we make a lot of times is that we sit and we wait for our boss to somehow or someday and say, listen, man, can I develop you? It doesn't work that way. As a leader, you are responsible for your own development. You create opportunities for growth for yourself. And that also means, so what I used to do when I was in corporate, I would go to the CEO of organization. When I was junior, I'll sit with the CEO. My favorite question was simple. I would say to the CEO of Sanlam, so Hendrik, what are the 2 things that keep you awake at night as far as running this organization? I was a youngster then. He'll look at me and he'll smile. Then he'll tell me what the 2 things are. And we have a chat and I say, so what do you do? You know, I'm trying to just, I'm just a junior guy asking questions. Now, when I leave that office, I have context of what is important to this man's life. At my junior level, I can now connect what I do to how it helps fulfill the mission of the organization. So when I present, I say, guys, if we look at the group mission, what I'm doing here, do you get the picture? So I'm stretching so as I noticed that as I was doing that, senior executives began to notice me. Do you get the picture? So you're responsible for stretching yourself. So simply put, you get it. Pain threshold is how much you can handle. Now, the mistake that you can make for yourself, because, promotion comes with money, you jump and accept a promotion where you're not ready. What's going to happen, it's going to destroy you, and it's going to destroy the people that you report to you, and ultimately to destroy the organization itself. We have many evidence here in SA where people have been given jobs and roles, and they've taken a well-functioning institution like SARS and ran it to the ground. All right, I'm going to leave it there, Prof.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Sipe, are you leaving? I can see you. I saw your hand, but I see that you have to join another meeting. Do you have a few seconds just to express yourself, my brother?
Prof, thank you very much. I've got almost collapse time, but it's difficult to leave such a profound presentation. You know, my passion on the issue of leadership is so inspiring, mouthful presentation. When you see a committed, passionate leader it's difficult to stop when something they failed you love so much. But my question, per se, not a comment, I thought I will be Mr. Moyo or Dr. Moyo will at least ventilate on the issue of quantity and quality in leadership, based on what is happening at the SADC point of view versus the global South initiatives, also at the geopolitics in terms of the wars that we're experiencing, to say what kind of a leader are we witnessing in this juncture of this geopolitics? What kind of a leader are we envisaging towards the agenda of the global South? Let me stop there, Prof, for the sake so that I can get a bite from Prof or Dr. Moyo. Thank you very much, Prof.
Thanks, Doc.
I received the PhD, Chief.
Just hold on, Max. My professor, sorry, you had a question there, Professor Zit. So sorry about that. I'll ask Max to respond to Dr. Potela because he has to leave. But after that, then I'll ask Professor Zide to express himself on that question. Over to you, Mr. Dr. Professor Moyo. Now you enter this platform, you're bound to be baptized.
I receive.
Where there's an immersion or whatever of the baptism. Over to you, my brother.
That's a bit of a curveball, that question. But I think if anything, we are witnessing the unraveling of the world as we know it. I think we are witnessing a turning point in terms of the world as we know it. And I'm still battling with, it's not just Trump. Because I'm not convinced that Trump is acting on his own. I believe that there's a greater agenda that they're driving. It's a selfish agenda, in my view. It is a selfish agenda. They definitely don't have the world, the best for the world, in my view. And he says it. I'm actually making America great. So I'll make America great at whoever expenses. I do. I mean, he has taken a shot at South Africa. He has taken a shot. In fact, he has taken a shot at every other country. And that's how you destroy society. That's how you destroy institutions. That's how you destroy humanity. When you care only about yourself and not others. Leadership is always others focused. Whenever leadership becomes internally focused, it becomes, and that's all I can say is really, when leadership becomes internally focused, it becomes destructive leadership. And that's what we're witnessing. I hope that helps.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. My professor, over to you, Prof. Zide.
Thank you very much, my professor. My question is very simple. Professor Dr. Moyo, Reverend, can I also add, because you touched on the Bible. Am I audible, my professor?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Oh, no, thank you very much. My question is anchored on the three-legged pot, wherein you said the burden of painful leadership is about people, purpose, pressure. And so I want to check with you, if you were to link leadership pain and the monstrosity of leadership, is there an alignment? Is there a difference between the two, or are there any similarities between the monstrosity of leadership and leadership pain? That's my question, drawing from the three-legged pot scenario. Thank you very much.
So help me out here. What is the monstrosity of leadership?
The monstrosity of leadership, it is the trials and tribulations of leadership.
Okay. All right. I get
The
you.
difficulties, the ups and downs, the terrains, the storms of leadership, and all of that. Yeah.
You're on point. It's perfect. Actually, that is the monstrosity of leadership, and it's normally put in those three buckets. It's normally either people, it's pressure, and it's also the purpose. Those are the three things that normally, if you take any of those ups and downs of leadership that you're facing, will be the only thing that I probably need to, maybe we could add a fourth leg. It would be the personal. I think I would probably add a P, which is a personal, because you are dealing with yourself and your own demons, if I want to put it that way.
Okay.
So I hope that so it is in my view, that's exactly you're on top of point. Pain threshold, it's actually in those buckets. I would add the personal thing, because you are not excused from your own drama. Yeah. Some of you will remember when Mandela, I think it was Mandela, I can't remember whether it was after he already became president or before he did, when he had to announce his divorce from Winnie Mandela. Yeah. You're witnessing the internal drama, his own internal drama. And then you have to go to, this is the reality. Sometimes you are running an organization, your own personal life is falling apart, and you got to deal with those. Yeah. So actually, thank you for asking that question, because when I redo this, I'm actually going to add the fourth P, which is personal. Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you very much, my prof. I'm answered. Thank you.
Oh, thank you,
my professor. Thank you. I see that Ono Abada has got some very interesting comments there, and observation in the chat room. There is he's saying that there's a presentation by Francis Kuyama, a Japanese American, at the center of Dada Chicago. Yes, most of us we've read Uyama's works. Francis spoke extensively about the clash of civilization. It will tell you what is happening today. We are at a crucial intersection of global ambiguities. Thanks, Doc. Mandela as a leader had appeared before a judge in the Louis Late. Yes, Louis Late matter. Yes, that was Louis Late. Thank you. Thanks very much, Doc. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Max, maybe if just the last question from me, and then you can respond. And then maybe after your response, you can give us your parting shot. And I appreciate your theme and your topic in your presentation. And we're talking about it's more about pain in terms of leadership. And I hope that I don't want to use the word overemphasis, because obviously, definitely it is a burden. It's true. There's a cost. There is a weight in leadership. But that it may not maybe scare the emerging leaders, those who still want to lead, that it's like leadership is more about pain. Is there any benefits in leadership if we are doing it correct, if we are doing it right? That yes, there is a burden, there is a weight, there is a cost, but also leadership is beneficial if it's done correctly in a good context and for the good purpose. Any thoughts on that one? And then maybe also you can give us your parting shots, and then we close the session.
And that's a good point, Prof. Because a lot of times when I engage with people around pain, people can end up thinking, geez, man. But I think we need to talk about pain. First of all, pain is neither positive or negative. Pain is simply pain. We decide that it's positive or negative. So let me give you an example. You are now a professor. To become a professor, you went through pain. But you're not seeing a psychologist because of the pain you went through to study. Why? You took the pain, but you made it positive for yourself. But if you get fired tomorrow, you can decide that is a negative pain, and you could end up at a psychological desk. So the point I'm trying to process is that pain is an integral part of being human. No one is excused from pain. You will be in pain whether you like it or not. In fact, all of us are in pain. The only choice you have when it comes to pain is which pain. I'm not making it better. So you are either going through the pain of discipline or you are going to go through the pain of regret. But pain you are going to have. And it's not pain. In fact, think about everything that you've achieved that gave you fulfillment. It was always after the pain. What doesn't cost you, it doesn't give you as much pleasure as what cost you. And that's why in the village back in the day, they did not give people handouts. So typically what would happen when I was growing up in the village, those who are working in the city will come. There's some old man in the village who has no income. He needs a jacket. My dad will probably say to the old man, come here, man, and give him a piece of whatever ground to till. He tills the ground, and then when he's done, he pays him with a jacket. Pain, pleasure. So let me round off with some story that maybe will stay with you guys for as long as hopefully it. In fact, let me give you a pain equation, then I'll give you a story. Is that okay? Okay, this is your pain equation or the growth equation. So it's either pain equation or you can call it the growth equation. Okay. Number one, growth is equal to change. Growth is equal to change. You all agree with me. Every time you grow, you must what? You must change. So let's apply that. Given what you've heard this evening, what change do you need to make in your life to become a better leader? There are 3 areas that you are going to look at. Number one, how you use your time. All change begins with a change in how you use your time. Number 2, your thinking. Hopefully in the presentation that I gave you, I touched your thinking, so you are shifting your thinking, so there will be change that will take place. Number 3, your relationships. Even a practical example. When I was doing my executive MBA, I used the same equation. I say, okay, if I'm going to pass my executive MBA, what do I need to change? Number 1, my use of my time. So in my time of relaxation, you know what I do? I watch Chinese dramas. There are 2 reasons why I watch Chinese dramas. Number 1, I do that because it helps me to because I think a lot, so it helps me to just not think. Number 2, I have to read the writing. And so what it does, because I read the writing, it improves my speed, the speed at which I read. And so I can read a 200-page in 4 hours, a 200-page book in 4 hours because I've improved, okay? So in order to pass, I must change how I use my time. I can no longer binge on Chinese movies. Do you see how I'm changing how I use my time? Number 2, my thinking. I had a problem with a subject called statistics. What a nightmare that thing was. I remember studying for 8 hours and getting back into the house. I look at my wife and say, I have no idea what I was doing. And she says to me, she says, Max, you make a living out of telling people, change your thinking and you change your life. Physician, heal yourself. So I came to the same desk I'm sitting in and I had to go through a change of thinking. I told myself, Max, when you were born, you couldn't even move your head. You couldn't talk, you couldn't walk, you couldn't read. Look at you now. You speak 5 languages. Went through everything I've achieved. And then I said, this is statistics. If I can understand the principle behind this thing, I can pass it. That change in thinking helped me to pass statistics with a 76%. The third part is relationships. Now that I'm doing an MBA, I must disconnect from people who are not doing an MBA. I must connect to people who are doing an MBA. And I must connect to people who already have an MBA. Do you see how you change your life? That's the first part. Growth is equal to change. The second part of that equation then says change is equals to loss, this is where you will begin to see pain coming in, right? So all change leads to loss. There is no change without loss. So if I use the same thing of doing an MBA, what did I have to lose? I had to lose doing certain things that I used to like doing with my time. I had to lose hanging around certain people. I couldn't go to some of the events that I would normally go to because I'm busy. Do you see how that? So here's the question for this one. What do I need to lose in order to achieve my objectives? What do I need to lose in order to become a better leader? Whatever your objectives in life, so even as a team, what does this department need to lose if we're going to achieve our objectives? What does this church need to lose? Do you get the picture? Once again, 3 things: use of time, thinking, and relationships. Third part of the equation. If growth is equal to change and change is equal to loss, then loss is equal to pain. So the question you now have to answer is, what pain am I prepared to endure in order to achieve my objectives? What pain am I prepared to endure to become a doctor? What pain am I prepared to endure to achieve my sales targets? What pain am I prepared to endure to have a successful marriage? What pain? So the point is that there is no success without that pain. Are you getting the picture? So pain is not negative. Okay, so growth is because there's no growth without change. There's no change without loss. There's no loss without pain. Once again, what pain am I prepared to endure in terms of use of time, thinking, and relationships? Therefore, look at my equation. If growth is equal to change, change is equal to loss, and loss is equal to pain. Therefore, growth is equal to pain. If you make your life about avoiding pain, you effectively make your life about avoiding growth. In fact, once you avoid pain, you're out of the leadership race. Are we okay with that? So let me close. When I was growing up in the village, I used to head cattle. I know it doesn't look like it, but I did. I used to look after cattle. And I learned something about pain from the behavior of cattle versus buffalo. Any one of you who've ever herded cattle, you know how you know there's a storm coming is the behavior of the cattle. When cattle sense a storm, they start wanting to go home. And it's 12 midday. They don't want to graze anymore. They want to go home. And so you are trying to keep the cattle in the grazing field. They're trying to go home. As the storm gets closer, you get to a point where you can't control the cattle. So they start walking away from the storm. And the storm gets closer, they actually literally gallop. What are they doing? 1, they're trying to avoid the storm. 2, they're trying to run away from the pain of the storm. But there's a problem. They can never outrun the storm. 1, they can't avoid the storm. Number 2, they can never outrun the storm. So what's happening? They're running away from the storm as fast as they can go. The storm is coming behind them as fast as it can go. And after a while, the storm catches up with the buffalo, with the cattle. And now the cattle are running with the storm, elongating the time they spend in the pain of the storm. But the buffalo, my friends, when a herd of buffalo senses a storm, they know they can't avoid the storm. They know they can never avoid the pain of the storm. You know what they do? They're going to lessen the time they spend in the pain of the storm. So the entire herd will turn around and face the storm. And then it's a fascinating thing to watch. They start to run towards the storm. So the storm is coming fast. They are coming when they meet, limiting the time they spend in the pain of the storm. And so, my friends, I want to close our talk this evening by asking one simple question. Are you a cow or a buffalo? Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you. Indeed, what does not grow dies, and what does not change dies. Just before I close, let me just check the, so we did get to the Dr. Abada there. Victor Songelwa, thank you, Mr. Moyo, in the making, if not, doctor in the making, if not one already, for this insightful presentation. So no pain, no leadership, very interesting concept. Thank you, Prof. Majola, as always. And then Dr. Abada, the leadership must always acclimatize with pain. Leadership is statistically about permutation and combination, that's stats. And then speaks about geometry of leadership. Dr. Chuma Mangisa, Prof. Moyo, wonderful, my brother. You were a leader, a coach, a priest, a mathematician, and also storyteller, excellent presentation, the burden that comes with leadership. And Sibosiso Majola, Prof, is it a book in the background, Men of Impact? So if you can just answer that one.
Yes, that book I'm launching on this weekend in Polokwane. I'm actually speaking at a men's conference, and I'm launching the book. It's called Men of Impact. You are more than. Hey, I can't remember the subtitle. Anyway, but the book is going to be ready. If you are interested, please, Prof has got my details. Get in touch with me, and I can get a copy. In fact, they're printing as I'm speaking. So those who are coming to the men's conference in Polokwane, they'll be the first ones to get copies of that book.
Thank you very much, my brother. Of course, we've agreed that this won't be the last slot for Max. He will be coming back again. We'll be arranging another slot for him. As you can see, that there's so much that we can learn from him. We are here to learn as leaders, and we are here to grow as leaders. Why don't you just appreciate my brother and our speaker, as we always do in this session. Give him a round of applause by just checking or touching one of the reaction there. And then whatever you prefer there, just to all of you, anyone who's in this call, please touch something there. There is that, button there's called react. You'll find something there. Whatever you can get, we are online.
Thank you.
If you are in person,
thank you.
We'll be giving him a resounding applause. Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you for really encouraging us.
Max must send the books to you, my professor, so that we can get them.
Okay, I'll make a plan.
Yeah, please. Thank you so much, Max. Thank you, my professor.
Thank you.
Thanks, my professor. Thank you very much. We'll arrange that so that we can, we'll arrange that, Prof. Thank you so much. But as we are saying that, this is not his last slot here. We'll see him again, and he'll be bringing other
Prof, just one question.
Mm-hmm.
Just one question. There are those who came because I invited them, like Dr. Abada. If we want to be a part of your, what do we need to do? So just, for the people who are there, how do they get to be part of maybe the mailing list or whatever it is, so that we can also attend?
Perfect, my brother. So yes, we do have a mailing list. So maybe you can just on the chat room there, if there's anyone who's the first time and they would like to continue to get invites from Wild, you can just put your details there. Obviously, we'll always be on social media, but definitely it always helps as well to be on the mailing list, because maybe you might lose or might miss the whatever social media that we'll be doing. But thank you for that question. Thank you very much. Otherwise, we meet every Wednesdays at 6 p.m. It's set. We don't touch that time. But you're right. It's always good to come knowing who will be talking and what the topic will be there. So definitely those who are joining us for the first time, we'll be definitely love to see you again with us. Other than that, thank you so much, Max. I wanted to thank you first for encouraging us and inspiring us tonight. Thank you for your insightful, instructive, informative, impactful, very inspiring presentation, my brother. Thank you. Thought-provoking. We've learned a lot from you. We've empowered us, and that definitely will be engaging you in a very near future to come back and continue from where you you finished. And as you have seen there, also it seems like there's a lot of challenge, whether doctor or whatever, and then definitely let's walk that journey together so that you can say one day you attended this platform, and then at least you came to address us, and then there was something that also came about.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for assisting us. But you and I will always engage even privately. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, especially for those who've been here for the first time. We'll be again coming back next week, Wednesday, with another speaker, as we always do. Please do join us. The session is adjourned now until next week, Wednesday. Thank you very much, and may God bless you, and may God bless Africa. Nkosi sigelela Africa. Thank you so much, and goodbye.
Thank you.